Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to week number 3 of the 2024 Tuba Bach Festival. Glad to have you here at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, or if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, happy to have you there as well. So, or listening on the radio on 97.3. So happy to have audiences wherever you may be. Before we get started with the program, I want to thank some folks that helped make the program happen. Emmanuel Lutheran Church for this absolutely wonderful, glorious space where we get to play. It is a pleasure to be here. If you enjoy being here and haven't been a part of and wish to be a part of 9:30 every Sunday morning, come and be a part of the worship service here. So many thanks to Emmanuel Lutheran Church. There are, throughout the program, and I think probably on the live stream as well, lots of sponsors and names that roll past. I want to specifically call out some of our platinum sponsors. Fair State University has been taking care of us for 19 years now, so we very much appreciate their support. The Marlis Myron Memorial Fund helps us go out and do educational things and outreach concerts for those that can't get here. This past Friday, we were at St. Mary's and did a program for the 2nd through 8th grade, I think, and had a great time doing that. So we very much appreciate the support of Gunder and all that contribute to the Marlis Myron Memorial Fund. The Michigan Arts and Culture Council, along with the National Endowment for the Arts, have been a big part of our making these programs happen. So it's your tax dollars doing good things. So thank your representatives and your senators and whatnot. And then we are now in our 4th year of collaboration with Michigan State University, and that's particularly appropriate today because all 4 of our performers are doctoral students down at MSU. So the only other thing I'm going to say mostly right now before I introduce them, if you have telephones or devices that are apt to make noise, please, if you wouldn't mind, do whatever you need to do so that they don't make noise. And new this year, I added in, for those of you that can't help but fidget with your phones during the concert, there's a Venmo code on the front cover, and you may fidget with your phone and donate to Tuba Bach if you like. So there you go. But mostly, you're just going to want to pay attention. We are in the midst of weeks, so 3 and 4 out of the 6-week festival. The 2 programs that actually have printed like actual musical concert, classical kinds of pieces. So this is the first week of that. We have, in both this week and next, premieres, world premieres, and consortium premieres, and I just wanted to explain up front what a consortium premiere is, if you don't know that, and the difference between the two. So the world premieres that are listed in here and for next week, these are pieces that Tuba Bach commissioned composers specifically to write a piece for the Tuba Bach Festival, and the performance that you hear here will be the very brand new first weekend that happens. Consortium premieres is when several performing organizations, or however that may be, kind of group together. In the case of the ones this week, the Kevin Day piece that we start the program with, there were, I think, 30 or so performers from around the world that all got in, and we all kicked in a little bit of money to help commission, in this case, several new pieces of work, and so we were all in on that. So that's what that means. So there's actually, conceivably 30 of these consortium premieres that are happening around the world in the next month or so. So that's what that's all about. And we're going to start off with that Kevin Day piece, the Fantasia number 6. If you really, really enjoy it, I assume that you could go online and find recordings of Fantasias 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have no idea what they are, but I bet they're very cool. So that is what that is. I also want to point out, just again for the next couple of weeks, if you look at the composers and if you look at when they were all born, in out of 2 weeks of full concerts, we're only playing for one composer that's not currently living. That's pretty amazing. That is, it's a very cool thing to be able to support young composers and current composers. And even among the, some older ones, Noah very helpfully pointed out that, hey, Dad, you're the 4th oldest one on the list. So, and Noah's the youngest one on the list. So there we go. But it's an exciting program of some very, modern-ish classical music and some fun things and some jazz things, so we will talk you through it as it goes on. So we're going to start with Fantasia number 6, but please help me welcome the 4 amazing, wonderful young ladies that are performing today with the string quartet. They're going to come through the door while I do this, and I can't do it in order until I see them, so we'll just take whoever they get. But come on out. Alirna Korieva, Natasha Kubit, Mira Cheng, and Meagan Turner. So please welcome everybody. Thank you very much. So, so the next piece is a genuine world premiere by, I think, somebody that most of you know. If you are new to Tuba Bach, you haven't met the guy, but if you've been around at all, you've seen him as a percussionist and as a pianist and as all sorts of things. But today's job is as a composer, and so I'm going to switch some horns around and do some other things. And while that happens, I'm going to let Noah Millette come tell you about this piece that you're about to hear and be the first ones to hear it. So here he is, Noah.
Hello, everyone. So the last time that my dad had a string quartet here for Tuba Bach was back in 2019 with the Invoke Quartet up from Houston, I think, Texas somewhere. And for that concert, he had asked me to write a quintet for strings and himself to play. And when he was putting together this concert, he asked me, hey, would it be okay if we played that little piece that you wrote for us 5 years ago? And I was like, no way. I was 17 when I wrote that. I have a whole degree now in composition since then. I know what I'm doing now. So what you're about to hear is a brand new piece that's kind of based on that thing they played 5 years ago, but much better, I hope. So what you're about to hear is a piece called American Tableau. This piece is all about nostalgia, half-remembered memories, misremembered histories, completely made-up fantasies. The first movement is a ballad of some nameless Wild West cowboy, as seen through the lens of a Russian romantic. So, not a spaghetti western, but a borscht western, if you will. The second movement is called Violet-Tinged Summer Night. It is a humid sunset by the lake. Mosquitoes are swarming everywhere, biting my little 4-year-old arms and legs. I remember it smelled like watermelon and motorboat exhaust. The third movement is called 78. This refers to a 78 RPM record. The movement is a classic novelty, early jazz, ragtime sort of a thing. The thing is, you put your record player on the wrong speed, so it's a little bit too fast. The last movement is called Anticipation Retrospection, and it looks back at all of the adventure and dreaming that got us to this point, and it fantasizes about some hypothetical imaginary future. It has been such a privilege and a pleasure getting to work with all of these fine musicians, polishing up this piece that you are about to hear. Please enjoy American Tableau.
Pretty cool stuff, eh? So, a year ago, did a concert with, it was a trio, French horn, tuba, and piano. And on that concert, we played a piece that was inspired by paintings of Georgia O'Keeffe by Lon Chafin. Lon is a professor of music and history, I think, out in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and is very interested in art, inspired by art and photography and things like that. So thus the Georgia O'Keeffe thing last year. So this next piece, titled Doors, was inspired by a friend of his that had gone around Albuquerque taking photographs of doors. So we thought, if it's inspired by that, you probably all should get to see some of that too. These aren't the doors that he had. These are just really cool doors. So, but kind of in anticipation of next week with percussion quartet stuff, all of the 4 movements have some kind of added extra percussion in them. The first movement, the stone lowered maze, on this side we all get to play rocks. The second movement, the old leaning lumber, has some knocking on the lumber of the string instruments. And the third movement is a walkabout town, all about town, out and about, whatever it is. And so there's some walking and all of that. And then the fourth movement's a blues thing, so there's just some finger snaps. So enjoy Lon Chafin's Doors. So the next thing that it says in your program isn't exactly what's going to happen, but it's close. So what it is I'm going to sit down with you all and watch, and it's a cool moment for just some string quartet stuff, and I'm going to let Natasha tell you what it's all about.
Thank you all so much for being such a great audience. It's so great to have a live audience and to feed off of everyone that you guys are here with us. Unfortunately, our next piece is not with Ed, but we are playing 3 pieces arranged by the Danish String Quartet, and these are the Waltz After Lassie and Libby, which is a Swedish traditional tune, and Lassie was a violinist, and he played this piece so often that they named it after him. Next, we have Sonderho Bridal Trilogy Part 2, which is a Danish traditional piece. And then last, we have 5 sheep, 4 goats. And I hope you guys enjoy.
So, so a couple of things. Amazing players, eh? So, it's been an absolutely fantastic week. So to get to have rehearsal time with them and with our rehearsal coach over here, rehearsal coach, composer guy, and lots of dinners, dog walking. These are like the very best dog walkers ever. So they've been a huge help. It's been such a fun week. Somewhere, maybe last night, I don't know, yesterday sometime, I think somebody asked me, hey, what's like some of your favorite concerts you've ever done and all that? Y'all are in like the top 5. So quite seriously, so. What? Well, 3 is part of top 5. Yeah, it's in there. Well, so several years ago, the first CD project that Tuba Bach did was with the Harlem Quartet, the Harlem String Quartet, and we did a couple of, not like there was a lot of music out there for tuba and euphonium and string quartet, so both of them were on the CD, and then we commissioned 2 more pieces, and so David Gillingham was my both brass professor and composition professor for my undergrad at Central Michigan University. A very dear friend, wonderful composer. I enjoy playing his music very much. And so he wrote a piece for that project, and it's called Motions. It's 5 movements, but really movements are motions, motions are movements. So it's 5 movements, 5 motions. And so it's exploring musically different kinds of motion and the perpetual motion. I think they all kind of speak for themselves, and you'll hear how it goes in the music, but perpetual motion and then slow motion is a lot of fun, and the contrary motion we do, and then the third movement. So we were at St. Mary's, I told you the other day, and had a great time, and we were using this piece as teaching and some things like that, and we did it 1 movement at a time. I said, so we did the slow motion. What's even slower than slow motion? The little girl, she said, very slow motion? I said, yeah. So even slower than very slow motion is the 4th movement, and then the final one, oscillating motion. So we've had a lot of fun with that. So hope you have fun with it too. David Gillingham's Motions for euphonium and string quartet. Thank you all so much for coming. Appreciate having you here very much. Again, want to thank Fair State University, the Marlis Myron Fund, the Michigan Arts and Culture Council, and the National Endowment for the Arts, and MSU for their support, and also everybody else that's in here. Take time, please, and flip through the program. I know you've been here before and you've seen it, and you said, oh, I don't need that. But find some businesses in there that you don't know about. Stop in, thank them for supporting the arts in our community. It means a lot to them to know that you've noticed that they do that. There's also the page of donors in there. I know that many of you are already in there. If you've donated and you're not in there, I apologize, and it was just a print thing, and we'll get you into the next edition. If you would like to be in there, we would love to have you. So there are various ways if you would like to support Tuba Bach. As I said, we're 19 years into it and haven't had to charge for any concerts, and the plan is to keep that going for the next I don't know if I'll last 19 years, but I'll try. So we'll see what we can do. So the Venmo code works. There's tubas outside the door. They take donations. There's some envelopes on the table out there. You can support that way. However it works, and if you're not sure, I'm happy to answer questions. Jane and Adriana are out there. So do that. There are, if you liked this whole idea of tuba, euphonium, a string quartet, that CD that I mentioned is out there on the table. You could buy that. CD players, I think, are available like in antique stores and stuff like that. So, you know, you might be able to find one somewhere. So that one and the other three are out there, and would love to have you have those and take some Tuba Bach home with you. There are still 3 more weeks to go, the October set. So next week is a percussion quartet week. Noah will be back banging on stuff. Very cool. 3 other people. Gwen Dees is the professor of percussion at Michigan State. She'll be up here. Kramer Milan, hometown hero. Kramer grew up here in Big Rapids. His dad is down at Preferred Office Machines. That's one of the businesses in here. You should stop in and thank John for that. But Kramer is now teaching. He's professor of percussion at Boise State out in Idaho. And then Dan Ingman is a doctoral student at the Hart School of Music in Connecticut. So that's the percussion quartet. The week after that, Ms. Korieva will be back. Final concert, and I'm so sad about that, but it's going to be great, of the whole artist in residency thing. So we're excited about that. World music kind of a thing. I'm looking forward to finding out what it's all about along with you, and so it's going to be great. But Alirna will be here representing Uzbekistan, and then Sandro Sidamanidze is an amazing cellist from the Republic of Georgia. Jordan Anderson is a fantastic jazz pianist from the country of Minnesota, but with family roots in Cameroon and West Africa. And then Angel Hernandez is just an amazing Latin percussionist. So that's going to be a fun week. And then the final week of the whole series, vintage vocal quartet from Boston is here, and it's going to be just fantastic. So please join us. And then after that, there's, lots more to come. There's a Christmas concert. Actually, before that, the MSU series starts. Shenny, marimba player, will be up here. And then Christmas concert. Alvin is back along with Phoenix, Miranda, and Jose Luis Maldonado. It's going to be a ton of fun. And then January piano concerts and all sorts of other stuff. And it goes and it goes and it goes. Hopefully you guys will be back. We haven't talked about it, but with any luck, we'll get the 4 of these folks back in the spring too. So would like to do that. So, trying to think if I forgot anything. Mom's cookies, don't forget those. If you're new to this, you should know about that. That's one of the important things for 19 years. Mom's cookies are in Fellowship Hall afterwards. Please join and talk to each other. Talk to these 4 wonderful young ladies. And what else? And thank you, Adriana and Jane, for helping you get in here. Paul and Jeff for doing the tech support and keeping the live stream going. And Steve back at the radio station. And thank you all. And please join us for the next 3 weeks. And we're going to finish off with the Haydn Gypsy Rondo. And before that, one last big, huge thank you to Meagan Turner over here on the viola. The amazing Oscar Wrangler dog walker Mira Cheng on the cello. Natasha Kubit back here on violin. On this. And Alirna Korieva. So thank you so much. Gypsy Rondo.